This program is brought to you by UCKG.
It's happening in every neighborhood.
Open the door! Who is it? Huh? This is why you really want to leave me.
No, I didn't.
Down every street. Sickness, addiction, and violence has been turning countless homes into crime scenes. Suffering, depressed, alone, suicidal.
May God bless all of you. A very good evening. Welcome to your program, Problems and Solutions of this Tuesday. It's a pleasure to be with you. And we are here from Tuesday to Friday here on Opta Kanalen to give to you a word of faith. Regardless of your problem, regardless of your situation, my dear friend, there is a way out for you. Yes, there is a way out for you. Like I said, doesn't matter the size of your problem, because sometimes, humanly speaking, your problem seems impossible because you have been trying many ways, you knock at many doors, and nothing has been happening. But I'm here to tell you that in the same way that people has been overcoming through the power of faith, you can do the same. Below your screen, there is our telephone number, 08612 1255. Also, you have our WhatsApp number, and you can be in touch with us, you can be in contact with us. We have people available to speak to you. We're going to watch right now stories of people who overcome, people who had a past, and today they have a new life, and they were able to start that new life. And if you are there on the other side and you want to start a new life, give this chance to God. Watch those stories, and we'll be back with you straight after.
Grew up with a lot of problems at home, watching my parents argue, and they would fight a lot, argue, and just yell in the house. It was something that I had to go through as a kid at a young age, very early age. That brought me down a lot, just seeing that from other kids. I thought, I always asked myself, why is this happening to me? Why do I gotta go through that? Why couldn't our lives be better? The years went by and my mom just really couldn't just take care of us. So then my sisters ended up living with my uncles. And then when I got to my teenage years, that's when I started doing drugs, started smoking weed when I was 13. I told myself, that I was only gonna stay with that. I wasn't gonna go beyond that. But again, then I started drinking. And then it got to the point when I started doing cigarettes, like when I was around 17. I started coming home late at first, 1 a.m., then it was 2 a.m., then 3 a.m., and it got to the point where I didn't even make it home sometimes. There was nights that I blacked out, like in the car, and that was pretty much, I lived like that for like quite a few years. I would say like maybe like five years or so. As soon as I would get my paycheck, I would blow money. That's probably like the first thing that I did, and just go out and buy, weed, or it was mainly weed that I would buy a lot. A lot of the money went towards going out, buying your way into clubs, buying the tickets or all the events that I would go to. A lot of the money went into that. And I started realizing that it wasn't filling in like that emptiness that I had inside. I was telling myself, okay, I'm gonna stop. Instead of smoking every day, I'm just gonna smoke on the weekends. And I kept up with it for like the beginning, but then, I realized that I just couldn't handle it. I couldn't be without it anymore. I knew about the Universal Church because of my parents. My parents were going to the Universal Church already before I was born, when my mom was pregnant with me. So after my parents got divorced and they stopped going to church, I went to move with my dad. But then my dad made the choice to come back to church, and that's how I started going back. I came back because I was really just done with my old life. I was really just done feeling lonely. When I came back, I started, from the very beginning, I started coming Wednesdays, and I started coming Fridays for the prayers of deliverance, and Sundays as well. The first changes that I started noticing were just with me just not wanting to do drugs anymore. You know, that addiction that I used to have was probably the very first sign that I noticed in me. At first, it just was not easy, you know. I stopped depending like on my own effort. I stopped depending on myself, on trying to be away from it, and started depending on God. And that's what made the big difference. And my dad, him telling me his experience, he pretty much went through something similar. He would say that God, when he was out there, God would tell him, hey, you don't belong here. You know, you belong in my presence. And I really connected myself, you know, with that. I really identified myself because I went through the exact same thing. Like when I was out there, it's like if I could hear God's voice telling me, you know, you don't belong here. Like, what are you doing? You're just wasting your time. And though that word, you know, always stuck with me and really made an impact and really just confirmed it for me that I'm really just not supposed to be out there wasting my life, throwing my life away. I'm meant to do bigger and better things. After being delivered, I knew that the Holy Spirit was the only way that it was gonna guarantee me that I was never gonna go back. I knew that the Holy Spirit was just everything, that it was the only way, not just to guarantee your salvation, but it's for everything. It's the strength when you need it the most. It's your best friend when you could have nobody, when you're just going through a situation where you're just, you know, feeling mostly alone, when it's just you and God. I started worshiping God. We started praying. We were doing the seeking of the Holy Spirit. And in that moment, I gave it my all because I was just really done being who I was. I didn't care what I had to give up. I didn't care what changes I had to make within myself in order to receive the Holy Spirit. And it was in that night that after the prayer ended, you know, I had that certainty, that faith, that assurance inside of me that I had received it. I felt like somebody knew. Once it was over, I completely felt like somebody knew. I looked around me and it was like a whole different vibe. I felt differently, not just physically, but spiritually. It was like something else. I just wasn't myself. I didn't feel like my old self in that moment, in that night. I felt like I was somebody else, somebody new, somebody that was born again. And I felt really happy, like extremely happy. Like I couldn't really explain it in words, but I was just smiling a lot. I started really realizing how to use my faith in order to make the changes that are necessary. Everything that I was learning throughout my life, I was learning it not only for myself, but I had that desire to teach others, to help others, because I knew that somebody else was probably going through a similar situation as mine, probably even worse. But no matter what the situation was, I always wanted to be there. Like I always wanted to be somebody that somebody can count on. My love life today is great. It's amazing. It's a complete different from what it used to. You know, just like every marriage, every marriage has with their disagreements, you know, and so whenever that happens, we solve it calmly. We solve it together. Now my life is completely transformed. Even though I grew up in an environment when I saw my parents argue a lot, I thought that I was gonna go through that as well. Even I went through it at first and I thought that was gonna be my story, but that was not the case. Now I have a very happy life. I'm happy in my marriage. I'm happy in my economical life. I don't live limited anymore. Both my wife and I are happy and healthy, but most importantly, I got to know God. I received the Holy Spirit, something that I was not capable of doing back then, something that took me years to achieve, even though that I was in His presence physically for all these 20 plus years, but I was never able to achieve that relationship that I now have with God.
Before, finding faith, my life was a complete mess. I was really depressed, clinically depressed, titled as mentally ill. My finances were upside down. I would work, and all my money would just always go. I never knew where my money would go. So it really led me to a low point. I was suicidal. I attempted suicide 3 times, and it was a mess. I remember the time where a friend of mine, someone that invited me to the church, said to me, you know what? The devil really hates you. Like he was expressing like, how much the devil hates an individual. And he said, you have to really make a decision to change. If you want to serve him, you're going to lose all. But then if you serve God, then you're going to win all. And I remember saying to myself, okay, well, there's a few steps that I need to take. I need to have a covenant with God. So what I did was I really decided to give everything, my all. And in return, all I asked for was for a new life. Even through all of this, I faced a moment where I became homeless. So it was very easy for me to give up. But I decided to trust in God, and he hasn't let me down. Since then, things started to change, and God just, he provided everything that I needed. From the point of accommodation, things happened not by magic, but situations will happen where I'll end up receiving free rent. On one occasion, it happened for 7 months, and through this time, it allowed me to really figure things out. God gave us so much favor in the sense of people, the top people in the industry, we would convince them to work for us. So this happened with every part of our company that we needed supporting. People just kept coming in. Our business kept developing. In my company today, we work with various people. So from people within the technology industry, people within the retail industry. So people come to us for solutions. We can even build technology solutions for them. So we build tech. God has completely blessed me and my wife. He's blessed us with this business, and seeing what God had did for other people, I knew that he would do the same for me. All I had to do was believe. So my life today, I'm free from all depression, of course, and I'm happy. I'm a person that looks forward to things every day. I enjoy the work that I do. I have a blessed marriage. I live in a beautiful home. That's my life today, and I'm truly grateful to God.
My dear friend, there is a way out. Like we tell you all the time, there is a way out. So what you need to do is to stand up from wherever you are and join us. Here in Stockholm, we have our doors open every single day. Every day at 10 o'clock in the morning and 7 o'clock in the evening is our meetings. Sundays, 11 o'clock in the morning. And you can come in the meeting, outside the meeting, if you would like to make an appointment, if you need a house visit. The Universal Church has their doors open to help the community. Here in Stockholm, we are very close to the city center. Birger Jarlsgatan 106. We are closer to the Tekniska Högskolan every single day. In Göteborg, we are there at the Ringögatan 13, Infart 7. And this coming Wednesday, tomorrow Wednesday, you can visit us already. So if you are in need of help, if you are in need of, a inner peace, so visit us tomorrow, because the doors of the Universal Church are open to you. It was a pleasure to be with you. Until next time, may God bless you.
As I lay me down, heaven hear me now. I'm lost without a cause, after giving it my all. Winter storm has come and darkened my sun. After all that I've been through, who on earth can I turn to? I look to you, I look to you. After all my strength is gone.
I'm not leaving this hospital until I know what's wrong with my daughter.
If you want out, that's fine with me!
This program is brought to you by UCKG.